All right, welcome everybody to the webinar. We're going to get started in just a couple of minutes. As you're coming in, I would love to hear where you're watching from today. For me, I'm in Florida. It's a beautiful, hot August day. So take a moment in the questions in the chat box, whether you're watching over on Google Plus or you're actually in the webinar room. Either way, take a moment, tell us where you're from and your first name. Everybody, welcome to the webinar. We're going to get started here very soon. You're in the right place. Today's topic is 3 simple ways I've doubled my income and list size with GetResponse. So I've got some fun, exciting things to share with you. My goal is to make it worth your time and make it very actionable today. So as you're coming in, and I see more people coming into the room, you may be watching over on Google Plus. If so, there's a question and answer box there. You can say hello, or maybe you're watching over in the webinar room. Definitely say hello over there. So take a moment and just give me your first name and where you're watching from, and we'll get started in just about 1 minute. I will say hello to Bert and Annie, Lorraine, Dave. Hello, Morgan and Steve and Grace and Kim and David and Martin and Randy. Hello, Wesley and Diana. Appreciate all those. Looks like we got more coming in now. Appreciate you guys being here. Really hopeful that you get something very actionable today that you can take and begin applying right now. Or maybe you come today and you're like, what is all this list building about? And why is it important? And we'll talk about that as well. I plan on leaving some time for us to answer some questions. So again, hello to everyone. Also, those of you over on Google Plus, looks like I've got some questions coming in over there already. That's awesome. And Sam has already said hello from Missouri. So welcome, Sam, over on Google Plus. And looks like there's several more that are coming in now. So hopefully you guys can hear me okay. And let me jump off of here, show you this isn't a recording, not a recording. This is a real person. I am here. And super glad to have you guys here today as we walk through this material. So let me just come over here real quick. jump out of this question and answer box. And make sure everything is set up. So there I am. Hello. Hope you guys are doing well. And I'm here at my home. This is the Blogging Your Passion Lab. This is where I spend a lot of time writing, thinking of ways to help you guys get your message out there. And maybe you're brand new, you don't know anything about Blogging Your Passion, the blog, or about me. Hopefully you'll learn a little bit more about me today. But it's not all about me, it's about you getting some actionable advice today. If you are hanging out over on Twitter, you can use hashtag BYPU, and I'll try to answer some questions and monitor some of the chat that's going on over there for you that love to use Twitter like me. So the topic again today is called 3 Simple Ways I Doubled My Income and List Size with GetResponse. So earlier this year, I would say probably around the turn of the year, closer to around January, I made a move. I made a move for a lot of reasons, but I made a move away from MailChimp over to GetResponse. And I actually looked at a lot of different email list building services out there, list subscription services, and finally landed on GetResponse. And I actually have an entire post that you can go read over on Blogging Your Passion called 5 Reasons I Made the Switch. And I'm not going to go into all of those today, but I am going to share with you some of the tools that are available to you through GetResponse. And to be honest, some of these are available on other list building services, so you might want to check it out if you're already a part of one. I'm certainly not forcing you to make the switch in order to use these, but I do want to show you how intuitive GetResponse is and show you some ways that I've personally used it to grow my list size pretty substantially and also my income through some of the launches I've done earlier this year. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to walk through that today and, again, make some answer some of your questions. Dave said, what was the hashtag? It's hashtag BYPU. It's short for Blogging Your Passion University. So as we're going through this, if you want to just use it to chat or use it to ask questions, I'll be monitoring that and answering some questions as well. Lorraine just said, I don't hear audio. It might be on my end, but it still says webinar will begin shortly. Since you can't hear me, Lorraine. Anybody else having problems with the audio? Looks like most of you can hear me okay. I'll just answer Lorraine real quick. All right, a bunch of you are putting some of your where you're from in there. I see Wesley. I know you, Wesley, from Orlando, not too far from me. Welcome. Lorraine from Texas, Bert from Virginia, Dale, Birmingham, Martin, Louisville, Kentucky. I lived in Louisville for a few years as a kid. Randy from Atlanta, Georgia. Grace from Jamaica. That sounds nice right now. Dave, Pensacola, Steve, Missouri, and Pennsylvania. Another Dave from Arizona. So, and other people are saying they can hear me. So I'm just going to roll with it. Let's roll through this. I've got some slides to share you. I'm going to do some screen sharing of my own inside GetResponse to try and help you guys any way I can. But before I do that, those of you, maybe you signed up for this webinar, or you saw it promoted out on social media, or maybe you're brand new to me. I'm a blogger who started blogging in 2009. I started with a career coach blog, so I cut my teeth not in the make money online area, but on how to grow something from a passion I had, and that was to help people with resumes, interviewing, job search. And so I started blogging over on jonathanmilligan.com in 2009, And over the course of 2 years, I was able slowly and meticulously I was able to build 12 different income buckets, 12 different ways that I earned money through helping people with careers. And when I started blogging, honestly, I probably knew of 3 ways. I knew AdSense, I knew coaching, like actually buying my time, and I knew that I could probably create some type of course, even though that was kind of daunting for me. How do I do the password, all of that? Well, over that time, I was able to build that up to the point where it began producing regular monthly income for me and allowing me to move away from my executive recruiting job and into working from home as a blogger, helping people with careers. So then in 2011, I started bloggingyourpassion.com really as a desire to help people who have a passion out there, whatever it is, whatever topic, whatever niche, whatever worldview or voice that they have. I wanted to give them tools that they could use. Actually, I wanted to create a step-by-step course that I wish I would have had when I first started. And so that's what Blogging Your Passion University has become, which many of you I know on the call today have been a part of. And for that, I'm truly honored and grateful. You can also find a couple podcasts that I put out, Blogging Your Passion podcast, and the Simple Life Habits podcast, really on productivity, life, and career. So those are some of the few places I've been featured in. Maybe you've seen some of my blog posts or heard some of my podcast interviews. So that is a little bit about me. And meanwhile, while I'm going through our presentation today, I want you to feel free to ask whatever questions come up. No question is a dumb question. And also, if you'll stick around with me, my webinars are typically 1 hour, so I'm going to go about 40 minutes in the little presentation. I'm going to leave time for question and answers. Then if you've been a part of any of our free blogging webinars, you know there's something we love to do here, and that is to do giveaways. So as I mentioned earlier, we have 3 foundational courses, Blogging Your Passion University. 101 is for somebody just starting out. They want to know how to start it off correctly. 201 is for those of you who have a blog, you've been blogging maybe less than a year, but you need to learn how to get traffic. 301 is a course we created for those who want to go from having a passion blog or a hobby blog and turn it into a business. And we share some of our tools that we use in actually earning money and keeping track of our affiliates and protecting our blog and things like that if you want to take it to the next level. So later in the call, I'm going to pick maybe 1 or 2 people, just random. You have to be in attendance, in attendance live, and I'm going to pick random, and I'm going to give away these courses. These courses run all the way up to $77 a piece, and each of them have between 20 and 40 blogging video tutorials, and you're going to get absolutely free access for that just for hanging out with us today. So that is what we're going to be up to. So again, thanks for being here. So let's jump into our presentation. Before we do that, I want to get a quick poll from you. Now, if you're watching over on Google+, you won't be able to see this, but if you're watching on the actual webinar page, you should be able to see a poll that's going to be showing up here pretty soon. And I just want you to take a moment and help me get a better idea of the audience that's watching today so that I can know kind of where everybody is. So the question that I have for you, that this poll that should be popping up, is what is the size of your email list? And just let me know. Your name's not attached to it, so you don't have to be embarrassed if you say I've got less than 100. Honestly, let me give you a little secret. It's actually more about engagement than it is size of your list. But I'm just curious to see where some of you are today, right now. And you say, well, I've never even started a list or I haven't even started a blog. Just check the first one, less than 100. So what's the size of your email list currently? Is it less than 100? Is it under 500? Is it between 500 and 1,000? Or would you say it's 1,000 plus? It should be 1,000 plus. It just says 1,000. But go ahead and put that vote in now and give you just a few more seconds. Then we're going to end the poll and take a look and see where most of you are today. So again, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, we're going to end that poll. And it looks like we got a good bit of representation from all of them, but it looks like the majority of you are going to say you're less than 100, and then there's a good 40% of you that are in that 100 to 500 category. So that's perfect. What I want to do today is I want you to think about how and what it would be like to double your list size using just a few simple tips and tactics that we're going to show today that enable you to double your list size pretty quickly. That'd be pretty awesome. And it should be a focus of yours. And again, I'm going to leave some time at the end to do some specific questions. So with that, let's jump in to our point number one. So here's point number one that I really want you to think about. And that is that you can grow and double your list size and your income by using multiple points of exposure. What I mean by that is have many different places on your blog, on your website, pages on your site where people can subscribe to you. Now, I'm not going to be able to share all of them. I think I'd probably overwhelm you a bit. But let me just show you kind of what I've set up over time. And it's not necessarily all about getting the same information in a lot of different places. You have people that follow on your blog that have interest in a lot of different things. So why not show them several different ideas or examples? So let me, I think what I want to do here is actually do a screen share. And see if I can show some of this to you. Okay. So first thing I'm going to show you is bloggingyourpassion.com. So you can see when you fall on the blog, the very first thing that you're going to see is you're actually going to see this kind of orange bar up top. This is a plugin. There's more than one plugin that can do this for you, but this just creates what a lot of people call like an attention bar, an attention grabber bar. And so this particular one says, want to start a mastermind group? Grab my 30-day launch guide. So then they can click here, and it's an opportunity for them to put a name and email address in, and they'll get a 30-day guide that I've put together. I actually put it together in a PDF that they can use to start a mastermind group. And it's actually something I'm working towards. I'm actually working towards launching a product next month on how to start a mastermind group. Now you can use the 30-day guide to do it, or if you want more in-depth training, there'll be a course available for that. So that is like exposure point number one. As you scroll down, you see this webinar that you're currently on is also an opportunity to list build. Holding webinars and free training, free hangouts is an awesome way to introduce people to you and to build your list. So as we continue to scroll down, here's another one on the sidebar that says 3-part video series reveals our 6-step blueprint on how to create and sell your first online course. Well, if I click on this, it's just going to take me to the opportunity to put in an email address and get a free 3-video teaching series on how I created my very first course. And it actually walks you through step by step. And I'll be showing you that how it works on the back end in just a little bit. Okay, let me just go back. Okay, so as we're scrolling down, another great spot is the very end of the blog post. And you can see this is an entirely different one. Join a community of bloggers wanting to help others and make money in the process. subscribe and get our free blog business plan. Now, we've had this running since 2011. I'm about to update it to make it something new and something different. This is another great place for you to put that. Someone gets to the end of the post, and if you have something attractive here, then it makes them want to click on it. I've got the same thing over here going on over here at jonathanmilligan.com. This is the first original one. You see, I'm actually promoting the same thing on 2 different blogs for the mastermind group. And I've got my Get Productive 30-day challenge over here. That actually was originally a blog post series. So here's another way that you can create content that you can actually end up collecting email addresses for. I did a blog post challenge for the month of February about maybe a year or 2 years ago now, and basically challenged my audience to follow me as I worked on one simple thing to do every day to get more productive. And so this has always been a great producer for me in getting subscribers. Besides that, obviously the end of a blog post also. So again, we're talking about multiple points of exposure. I use a plugin right here for this. And this plugin is simple and very easy to use. And then also, which I'm currently have it off right now, but also I do have from time to time, especially on this blog, a pop-up that comes, but it does not show up when someone first falls on it, because those kind of annoy me a little bit. It's when someone moves over and goes out. If they, you can probably see my mouse right now in the Hangout. If they move up into the sidebar or up into the top navigation bar, that means they're probably wanting to click away. And if they move away, this pop-up just kind of, it's like an overlay. It just shows up a shadow box that asks them if they would like to receive the 30-day Get Productive Challenge, or sometimes the gift book that I've given out, things like that. One more point of exposure that I really want to emphasize is over on your About page. So over on the About page, I have Sign Me Up, and then you scroll down, Sign Me Up, and I think it's one more time down here, Sign Me Up. Those are all opportunities for me to grab people and have them join my email list. So those are all on the blog. Now, of course, we could talk about a lot more from Twitter, how to get subscribers there and different things like that. But for the most part, that is how a lot of the multiple point of exposures work. So that's something I really want you to think about, is how could you implement some of the same ideas here. So let me just show you again. Talked about the sidebar. That's probably hard to see at the very top up there. The top bar. There's also another example on the sidebar. There's the end of the blog post. And so one of the things that I really like about GetResponse is the fact that you can create many, many different campaigns or lists. I think they're called campaigns. But that's one thing that I love about it, and you're seeing kind of a screenshot. You can do like a weekly or monthly weekly or monthly view of how all your different opt-in offers are doing. And so in here, there's anything from the mastermind group PDF to the blogging webinars to a little bit of everything. And that's the one thing I love, is that I can quickly just hit copy campaign and boom, I've got a new list, and I can throw that code somewhere on my site to create a whole new type of opt-in offer. I even did that at the beginning of the year by simply putting a real quick one-page PDF together that kind of walked people through how to set goals for the new year, and just promoted it and picked up email addresses that way. So that just kind of shows you a little bit about the multiple points of exposure. Again, if you're having questions or you want more detail than what I'm giving, I'd be happy to do that. Just ask those questions, and I'll be answering those in just a little bit. So that's step number one. Step number two is by using multiple touches of trust. Now, this sometimes can be called an autoresponder series, but I find that there's a lot of bloggers, at least a lot of the ones that I coach or mentor, that have never done this, or they're not using this effectively at all. This is an amazing tool to use to begin building a relationship of trust with your audience. And I think kind of the number one thing I hear from people is, I'm collecting email addresses, but now what do? I don't know what to do. I don't know what to send them. I'm afraid to email anything because then I'll get unsubscribes. Or maybe you think, you know, it's been months since I've sent anything, and so now if I send something, I'm afraid everybody's going to unsubscribe. Listen, the truth is, every single blogger out there gets people who unsubscribe for one reason or the other. It's just the way it is. But focus your attention instead on constantly adding value. But one way that you can kind of minimize that fear of people unsubscribing is to begin to build a relationship with them. And a relationship is like, I've heard one person describe, like little touches or little love letters that you send every few days, at least in the beginning. You know, maybe you kind of back off of it after a while. But that's what I want to show you, is how you can set up an autoresponder series to help and build into people's lives. And here's why this is so important. Because as Brendan Burchard so eloquently put it in one of his books, The Millionaire Messenger, we're moving away from attention marketing to teach and serve marketing. And I think that's so profound, because for many years, if you think back in the internet, even 10 years ago, it was all about grabbing your attention. Big, bold, red headlines that promised the world, long sales letters that promised the world, made big income claims, and you got that shoved in your face over and over and over again. It was all about attention marketing. How could we grab attention? But today, I think more than ever, we're coming to a more authentic place, and I believe that is teach and serve marketing. So one of the things that I have done over the years is put out a lot of content, a lot of blog posts, podcasts, videos. I hold these free webinars from time to time. I try to do it at least 5-6 times a year, because I want and believe in teach and serving an audience. And if you teach and serve them and they benefit from you, then they're going to want to naturally know more. They're going to want to naturally, you're going to build trust and authority and all of that with them, reciprocity. And so this is so important that you understand that it's not about getting people on your email list so that you can just pound them with buy my widget, buy my widget, buy my widget. But it's going to be about multiple touches of trust. So let me just show you an example of how I am using that with GetResponse. So we're going to jump into my GetResponse account here. Okay, so what you see here is something, one of the many features GetResponse has is time-based autoresponders. I want you to think of it like a calendar. So day 0 on your screen is literally when someone signs up for your list. So they sign up for your list. And now what you can do is you can set up automatic messages, going back to that multiple touches of trust, that you can build into with them over the series of a week and a half. So what I have set up here is from the Teach Your Passion course. I was showing that a little bit earlier, but this is a launch that I did for a product back in March or April of this year, and it was a great success. It was something that really took me by surprise, and I loved teaching it. But it's basically a course that walks you through how to create and sell your first course online. Like I mentioned before, I made my first course in 2010, and to date I've created about 10 to 12 different online courses that people can purchase on different topics. And so what I did is I kind of took all of my experience and put it down into a simple 6-step blueprint. And over the course of 10 days, you're going to get 3 teaching videos that walk you through this step by step. And so when you first opt in, you get the first one on day 1, and then a day goes by, and then day 3 on this, you're going to get the next one. And let me show you an example of what that looks like. So this email simply says, video 2 is live, am I really an expert, plus find your talent challenge. So it says, I have another video training for you. In this video, you're going to learn how to beat the fear of not being good enough, 4 principles on how to be an expert right now, the core genius mindset, find your talent challenge, 2 steps to unlock your core genius, and then here's a link. Click and you watch the video. It's like a 30-minute training video. And so then the same thing happens again on day 5. Here's another example of, again, we're building that trust. This is the fastest way to payday, plus PDF download for you. So I have a question. This is a statement. I just struggle with the technical how-to when it comes to creating an online course. Well, in this video, you're going to learn my favorite course creation blueprint, 7 different strategies for launching online courses, a mind map of the 7 phases of online course creation, plus much more. And then grab my PDF mind map that I've created for you. So I'm building into people, and actually, not only did I launch a course, but I launched a small group coaching, and I had people in that small group coaching that said, when I watched the videos, I instantly knew at that point I had to purchase some coaching with you because I'd learned so much in those videos. And that's what I'm saying, and what I'm showing you here is nothing different than that you can't do either. I mean, you can do this same setup that I've done. And what's great about using this is it's got drag and drop functionality. So if I wanted to move this over to day 2 and test it out, I can move it over here. If I want to move it back over here, if I wanted to change the title, I can change the title. I can see how many people are actually opening up day 2, video 2, and so on. And then I've got on day 8, the doors are open. So this is kind of what I would call, has been called an evergreen launch, so it's constantly open. But for someone who's just going through the video series, the doors are open, they can go and check it out. And then this is a final email that they receive in the sequence. So that is how a simple process you can use. Now you say, okay, how could I do that in a simple way? That seems like a lot. Do I have to do videos and all that just to kind of walk this through? The answer is no. You can set it up real simple. And let me give you a quick idea that is an actual idea that you can use. So how you set these up is through, these are the different campaigns I have. Now you don't have to have all these campaigns, but you can link these up to a campaign when you set a campaign up inside of GetResponse. But here's the example I want to show you. So I want you to go and look in your analytics if you've been blogging and it's hooked up to Google Analytics. I want you to go and look at your top 10 blog posts and kind of spread it out over, I would say, 10, 12 months if possible. Just get you a couple of months worth of seeing which of your blog posts gets the most traffic. And this on my blog is something I wrote back in 2012, and it still to this day gets a lot of traffic. It's got quite a bit of comments on it and shares and things like that. And basically, I walk through this this blog post answering the question, what do I do when I go on a job interview and I haven't heard anything? And so here's 4 different templated emails that they can use to try and reach out to the person that interviewed them. And so what I have is at the very end, I have this call to action. Finally, you can start nailing the interview and getting more offers with this special report. We use this internal document with every candidate that interviews for us. Grab our time-tested, free 15-page interview PDF guide. I mean, it's not that pretty. It's not that pretty looking, but it's something simple. And I get hundreds of opt-ins with this simple. I'm catching a captive audience. If they've been reading this about job interviews, then they want this 15-page interview guide. And so they opt into it. Well, once they opt into it, then I can set an email for the next day, just a quick little email. And then I could do an email on the third day. And then on the fifth day, I could send them, hey, if you've enjoyed this training, there is a course I've put together called Interview Edge. And I actually have, this is a real course that I have, Interview Edge course. And you know, as a thank you to being a subscriber, you can get it at 50% off. And then you have this now set up to not only collect an audience that's interested in a specific topic, which is job interviews. So if I want to do a webinar just about job interviews, I could send it to this list. So, and it's all set up on autopilot. I'm collecting email addresses. Those emails go out automatically, and that final email gives them a discount to a course that I have put together, which I'll show that to you. So this course is called the Interview Edge System, and it's for $77, but when people opt in on that page, they can get access to it 50% off. So that just shows you an example. So hopefully that is spurring on an idea and something that you can do for yourself. All right, so let's jump over and let's hit point number 3. Then we're going to take some questions. We're going to answer several questions, and then also, in case you've jumped on the webinar late and you didn't get this memo, we are going to be doing a giveaway. We're going to be doing a giveaway for our blog courses. So that's going to be happening here in just a little bit, for just a thank you for attending and being here today. All right, so let's jump down here to point number 3. And this is probably, besides, I would say this, if you've not used GetResponse, you're not familiar with GetResponse, one of the best features I love about GetResponse is they have live chat 24/7. So hopefully I'm speaking to those of you out there who feel technically challenged. If you want to figure out how to do something, you just hit the chat button. In fact, I'm going to show that to you. I just love this feature. And anymore, the actual services that I am associating myself with are ones that offer live chat. I use Kajabi, which powers my membership site, and they have live chat. Let me show you this. If I could jump back in. Oh. Okay, so here's an example. Right over here on the left side is live chat. Now, I don't want to hit this button because then I'll be asking someone to chat and I don't have anything to ask them about. But this appears no matter where you are in the inside of your GetResponse account. You can say, how do I set up a list? And they'll walk you through that. And you can even navigate to other pages, and the chat box stays on top of the page, which is really cool. But I can't tell you how many times I've used that because I've wanted to use features that I didn't know how to use yet, that I wanted to use. And so so that is incredibly helpful. And that's something when I was with MailChimp I did not have. I had to Google it. I just throw my hands up in frustration. But I love having the live chat because it saves me so much time. So back to my final point is by using action-based responses. Action-based responses. Now this is a big craze these days. If you've heard of Infusionsoft or if you've heard of Ontraport, They have a lot of features. Now, I've struggled at times whether to jump ship and go to Infusionsoft or Entreport, but those are very expensive. And if I'm not using them the way that I want to use them, I don't know. If I can get it done with something like GetResponse, what I want, then I'm fine and okay with that. And I want to also have RSS to email, which is another topic to talk about, but I want to be able to have my blog post where they go out automatically anytime I write a new blog post. It becomes a new email. It's like an automated newsletter. And MailChimp does this, GetResponse does this, but it's definitely much more difficult with Infusionsoft and Entreport to do that. But the reason why a lot of pro bloggers move to Entreport and Infusionsoft is because they get some customization, some custom funnels of what to do next. Well, I want to show you something that most bloggers don't know about with GetResponse. They actually have action-based responses. That means you can customize when someone opens a particular email topic, you can customize it to do something. So it's like an if-then rule. So without trying to complicate it, let me just show it to you. I'm going to show you one that I have set up. So here I am again on my GetResponse, and it says create autoresponder. Now this time-based one is the one I showed earlier with the cool calendar, and that's the one that like MailChimp does, Aweber does. But here is what I think in some ways, besides the live chat, separates GetResponse from a lot of other ones is they have a lot of other options here that I would consider to be action-based autoresponders. That means if you send an email and someone on your list does something, you can set it up so that something else happens in return. Let me just show you a simple one. I just recently opened up a blog mentoring page. In fact, let me show that to you. Here on the blog, it says one-on-one mentoring with Jonathan. And on this page, it kind of has a breakdown of some of the different mentor options that I'm currently have running and have available. Okay, so I wanted to send an email out to my list about that. So I created this email, and it shows a little bit more about it and talks about it, shows the video, on and on and on. But what I decided to do is set up an action-based email. And what that does is if someone opened, because I have it on open, if someone opened this email about blog mentoring, that means they have some type of an interest. That means they're interested to know either what I'm up to or interested in being mentored. And so what you can do is set up that in second email or a third or fourth or whatever it is that you want to do, that another email gets sent. And it's not the same email. It may look kind of similar, but if I got into it, you would see that it's different. It has a little bit different information in it, but it's going out with a delay of 1 day. So if you open this email, then you're going to get another email. And you say, well, why do you need to do this? Here's why. Because that way I'm not bombarding people who just don't have an interest in my topic. For example, if I were to send an email on January 1st that says, here, my simple guide to setting goals for this year, then I could have a second email for those that open that first one that says, here is my goal setting course available to you at 50% off as a thank you for being a subscriber. Now I'm sending emails to people that want to hear what I have to say instead of bombarding people. Remember, we talk about attention marketing and we're talking about teach and serve marketing. This is how you can do a teach and serve approach where find out what your audience is interested in and then give them more of the same. So that's what this does for me. Now you can set it up. There's many different options. You can set it up on if they clicked a link. So not just if they open the email, but if they actually click the link to go and find out about my blog mentoring, I could set up a second email to go to them. You can do the same thing for subscribed, goal reached, data change, autoresponder sent, birthday, on and on and on. So there's several different options, but that's something real simple that you can set up that can mean everything in the world. So those are a few of the tips that I wanted to share with you. So again, just as a quick review, and then we're going to take some questions. I want to encourage you to use multiple points of exposure. When I moved to GetResponse, it was much easier for me to create multiple lists. All I had to do was copy the campaigns I already had, change the name, and then I was ready to copy and paste into different pages on my site or use the link in different ways. Point number 2 is using multiple touches of trust. I showed you some of those simple, a few emails that you can set up using that drag and drop that GetResponse has, that you can simply set that up. And then point 3 was all about using action-based responses, how you can set up a if-then. If someone opens this email, then they get this second email that maybe has got a little bit more information, or maybe it's a little bit more of a stronger sell, but it's only going to the people who already have an interest. So before we do some giveaways, what I want to do is I've put together some additional free training and tutorials about GetResponse, and I want to make them available to you. So this is available to you if you will use this link, bloggingyourpassion.com/1/GetResponse. I'm actually going to show the link in just a second. If you're in the webinar room, you'll be able to get access to that link in just a second. But if you go and use this link, by using this link, it's my affiliate link. But by you becoming an affiliate, in return, or by you signing up through my affiliate link, in return, I'm going to give you how I'm using GetResponse through some additional free videos that I've never made public. I've created them just for those people on here. And here's the cool thing. When you go to bloggingyourpassion.com/1/GetResponse, you get a 30-day free trial with no credit card to sign up. So you can actually get in there and play around with the software, use the calendar like I showed you, try out the tools, use the live chat, use it, and you can, even if you've already got those other emails, you can easily import them into this new one and test it out as well. So I'm going to basically provide you free training and tutorials to sign up for a 30-day free trial. Again, no credit card required. But if you do sign up, make sure you email me at admin@bloggingyourpassion.com. It's right on the screen. Again, it's admin@bloggingyourpassion.com. And the advanced training should be showing up. The link should be showing up for you. And by signing up and emailing me that, I will give you the password to access the page that will give you some additional free training and tutorials on how I am using GetResponse to grow my list. So we're going to take a few questions, and then again, I'm going to do that giveaway. So we're going to have give away a couple blogging courses here for anybody who's live and in attendance. I've seen several questions come in, so we're going to try to get to these and see what people have to say. So let me just go down through here. And if you have questions, now's the time to ask them. I'd be happy to answer other blogging questions that you're coming with. If you have any blogging questions about traffic, social media, how to earn money with blogging, I'd be happy to answer those. But I'm going to start with the questions related to email list building or using GetResponse first. So All right, just kind of looking through all these people saying where they're from. Okay. All right, Erica says, have you only used GetResponse? I use Aweber now. I wanted to change to GetResponse, but I don't find it easy to customize. Um, I don't know how long ago it was that you've used GetResponse. When I started asking around Erica earlier this year, the people who had made the switch said that they did it because GetResponse had done a lot of updates. For me personally, it's I used Aweber, but that was back in 2009, so I've been kind of disconnected from Aweber for a while. I used MailChimp for the last couple years. One of the main reasons that I've moved away from MailChimp is because of the customer support. It's great for just starting out. My wife still uses MailChimp because I understand that for a lot of people. But at the same time, I had a good friend of mine who has a big email list, and MailChimp wrongly flagged his email list, and he was unable to access it, unable to send out emails for several days. There was no phone number to call. There was no live chat to talk with, and so all he had was the mercy of emailing and trying to get his account unlocked. At the end of the day, they did unlock it. It was a mistake, and they apologized. But that kind of made me nervous, to be honest with you. So I started looking at other, and just it was more than just that. But I started looking at other, what else was out there. And so GetResponse for me has been an easy transition, especially with the live chat being there. Plus they have lots of videos to show you how to use it. So for me, it was a real smooth transition. I moved both of my email list from my Career Coach blog and from Blogging Your Passion all over into the same account, which was nice because I had two separate accounts at the time. And I found it to actually be cheaper. It's actually more cost-effective than MailChimp. MailChimp was actually more expensive. And it may not matter to you where you're at now, depending on where you are, but as your list grows, that can be something to think about. So hopefully that answered your question. Kent said, hi, will I be able to watch this again if I want to review it? Yep, absolutely. Now the free courses that we're getting ready to give away is only going to be for those that are live right now, but for the majority, all of you that are listening, there is going to be a link goes out tomorrow to watch the webinar. Tommy says, I made a huge investment and tried Infusionsoft, but it was complicated beyond what I could find. The bandwidth to manage is GetResponse easier. Tommy, I was there. It was actually earlier this year that I was considering Infusionsoft. I was going back and forth between them and Entreport, and then I finally made the decision that GetResponse was going to be what I needed, especially those action-based responses. That's what kind of initially attracted me, is that to Infusionsoft and or to Entreport. So for me, I didn't need at least for me now, I don't necessarily need a Corvette to be effective, and I felt like I was paying for, a Lamborghini when I just needed a solid vehicle to get done what I wanted to get done. So for me personally, Tommy, GetResponse is much easier than setting things up in Infusionsoft. So that's just, of course, been my experience. And trust me, when you think about moving your business, and I'm thinking about, I was thinking about moving two businesses. One I'd built for a couple years, and moving it over into a new tool like GetResponse, I did my research. I mean, I talked to many of my blogging friends, those that were using GetResponse. I went and talked to them extensively about what they liked about it. How was it when they moved all of their emails over? And so I became convinced that GetResponse is what I wanted to do, and I'm very glad I made that switch. Kent says, if your blog is read by those who don't have English as their first language, do you ever translate your blogs? I don't personally. I know Google, especially in Chrome, has that feature to be able to try and translate. But what I've found, at least for, of course, my blog being English speaking, there's many countries overseas that teach English, and so it's pretty widely acceptable. So out of a couple of years of blogging, I've never had that be a hindrance to me to only be in English. Diana says, can you use GetResponse with more than one website? Yep, absolutely. I use it for both of my blogs, and I like having it all in one place. So you just create a list, or create a campaign is what they call it, and then you're able to set it up just for that particular website. Dave says, do you ever send out one offer to a list that opted in via a different offer? Typically what I'll do from list to list, Dave, is I will just give it to them. Because I've already got them on my email list. Oh, here's a really cool thing about GetResponse that I probably should have mentioned earlier. But let's say you've got 8 different lists. Okay, let's just, for example's sake, let's say you've got 8 different lists, and you want to send an email to everybody. Now, your first hesitation is probably one that I have when I say that, is what if someone's on 2 or 3 of my lists? I don't want them to get 3 emails. Well, the cool thing about GetResponse is you can pick all your different lists, but it'll only send 1 email per email address. Now that's pretty awesome. And I'm pretty sure when I was with MailChimp that you couldn't do that. They may have changed it now. But so to answer your question, what I'll typically do, list to list, is I'll just basically let them in on that thing that I'm doing. Now, sometimes it's a little bit different with webinars, but the other thing you can do, Dave, which is really cool with GetResponse, is you can take a list and you can move that list over into your main list. So say that your main one is Dave's blog, and then over here you do a webinar, and let's say 50% of the people on that list are already on your main list. Well, when you move it, it only moves the email addresses that are the new ones. Then those that are left over, you can just delete if you wanted because they're already on your main list. Hopefully that makes sense. But like, let's say, for example, you have 100 people on your main email list. You do a webinar, and you get 100 people to sign up for that webinar. Let's say 50 of them are brand new, meaning they weren't on your first list. When you move them over, it's not going to move over all 100 people. It's only going to move over the 50 new people. So now your new list has 150 people on it, and then your old list, your webinar list, has 50 remaining. You can just delete those if you want because they already exist on your first list. So hopefully that makes sense. That's just one way that you can build a list through like doing multiple webinars over time, and you're still building one big list. Let's see. Can you import the MailChimp list? Yes. Tomi asked. Yes, you absolutely can. And with that, you can. It's pretty easy. You have to be able to go into MailChimp and find export. And when you export it down, it's going to export it to like a CSV file. And then that is what you import into GetResponse. And again, if you need walkthrough, there's the live one-on-one chat that's available to you that somebody will actually walk you through that while you stay on chat, which is really helpful. Does this replace MailChimp that is automatic on my site right now when I post a blog? Yeah, so you're going to need to you will need to switch that. I think you're referring to the RSS to email feature. GetResponse does that as well. So you will have to make that switch because you're going to want to move everything over and stay over on one list and not be confused trying to be in two different places. So whatever MailChimp does for you, GetResponse can do for you. In some of those free training videos, I'm actually going to show you how to set up that RSS to email, which is a great way to regularly connect with your audience without having to constantly type up new emails, is to set it up to where they automatically get your new blog post in their email list, or in their email, I should say. Wesley says, are there still openings for one-on-one mentoring? Yes, there are, and I have had some people take advantage of that. I need to decide how many more that I have the capacity to take, but I do still have openings right now. There's basically 3 options for those on the call that want to know what I've made available. The first option is really what I call the strategy session. It's a 60-minute strategy session that I will walk through, learn about. You'll submit some information to me, and in 60 minutes you're going to walk away with an action plan of what to do with your blog based on the recommendations I give you. So there's that. There's also a 1 month, which is 4 weekly calls that you're going to get access to. And with those weekly calls, you will be able to get that accountability and feedback that you need to make sure that you're doing things the best way possible. And then the biggest one I have available right now is the 3-month, and that is the Blog Business Mastery Program, which is 12 sessions, and it's 3 months of mentoring with me, really designed to help people who are trying to make the leap from a hobby blog to earning income with their blog, knowing what they need to do to get that set up and running. So that's what I have available. And right now, I'm actually also offering, which we've never done before, lifetime access to Blogging Your Passion University, which is our premium membership. This is, right now, it's $30 a month to be a part of it. And we add content, member-only content webinars and office hours, 60-minute office hours every single month where you can get coaching from me, on top of getting access to all of our courses. That's 101, 201, 301, Teach Your Passion on creating your first course. So anybody who purchases one of those mentoring packages right now, they get lifetime access to Blogging Your Passion University, which is pretty awesome, something we've never offered before and may never offer it again, because that's a pretty big thing. Let me stop here, and I've got some more questions going on, but let me stop here since we are at 5 o'clock and I'm very aware of your time that I want to do a couple giveaways. So again, this is for the 101, 201, or 301 course. If you're just starting out, then basically I'm going to give away a free course to 2 people, and you can email me to let me know which one you want later. So let me grab the list of attendees that are on here. We're going to do this as ethical as possible. I'm actually going to go over to a site called Random. Actually, it's called Randomizer, I believe. See if I can find it. Let's see. I can spell correctly here. No, I'm making all of you wait. Let's see if I can find it. random.org/list. I found it. Now we can put in, and basically what that's do is going to randomize this list of attendees, and whatever's on top, that's the first person that I'm going to give away a free course to. So we're hitting randomize, and the name that shows up top first is Diana. So Diana, I'm going to find you on here. I'm going to send you a message so you'll know that's you on the webinar page. Congrats. And I'm going to do one more. And by the way, if any of you win and you've already got all 3 courses, or let's say you're part of our premium membership, bloggingyourpassion.com, the premium membership where you get access to everything, then you can still email me, and I'm going to figure out something to make it worth you winning. So if you do have all 3 courses, we'll still make it worth it to you. All right, here's the second time through. The one that shows up is Grace. So congrats, Grace. You guys can send me an email at admin@bloggingyourpassion.com and show that slide again so you have that email. There it is, admin@bloggingyourpassion.com. And congrats, I'm going to give you access, free access to those courses. So pretty much now we're going to hang out here for just a few minutes. I want to answer more questions. I know I've seen more questions. This is the after party. You're welcome to stick around if you just want to learn more, or if you've got to go. We are at that 1 hour. You can feel free to go. But I'm going to stick around and answer some more questions if there are any. So let me just back up here a little bit, and probably need to grab some. All right. Trying to see if I've got any other questions from different places here. Some people are hanging out over on Google. Mark asked the question, says, does GetResponse make combining lists from various accounts easy, like Yahoo, Gmail? Yes, the combining list is very easy. Once you're in there, if you're like, I'm not sure how to do this, that's how I was. I got on the live chat, they showed me one time, and I knew how to do it from then on. It's very easy. Basically, you just go in to that particular list, and then below it has options. One of the options is copy or move. The copy is just going to move that entire list over while leaving your existing list. So you say, why would I want to do that? Okay, here's an example for you. Let's take my mastermind. You know, I've got a mastermind course I want to release, but I also want people to be on my main Blogging Your Passion list. So let's say they opted in for the Mastermind Launch Guide PDF. Then what I'll want to do is actually copy. So when I copy them over to my main Blogging Your Passion list so that they can get the regular email updates of my new blog post, by copying it, I leave all of the people on my existing mastermind list so that when I do my course launch, I can be I have a little bit more permission, be a little bit more aggressive with my original mastermind list because they have already opted in. They've already raised their hand and said they want to be part of a mastermind group, if that makes sense. So that's the copy feature. Now, if you do the move feature, you say, well, give me an example of a good move feature. This webinar that I'm doing, many of you are already on the Blogging Your Passion email list, but if you're like most of the times I hold webinars, there's a good percentage of you that aren't on the email list. You saw it either on the blog or on Twitter or on Facebook or Google Plus or LinkedIn, wherever I promoted it. And so I would use the move feature. So what the move feature would do is I would go to my list that I created to collect email addresses for this webinar, and I would select Move to my main Blogging Your Passion list. And then again, as for an example's sake, like we did earlier, let's say there's 100 people that signed up for this. If 50 of them are new, then only 50 go on my main list, while 50 remain. And I could just delete the others and delete that campaign because it was just temporary. It was just for a webinar. So hopefully that makes sense. But you have that option of move and copy that makes it extremely easy to continue to build your main list, which I love. It's a feature I've really enjoyed using. I'm looking over on, let's see, Anne. Hello, Anne. I know you. Anne, by the way, did the Teach Your Passion course. She was one of the coaching students and has already to date sold like 50 or 20 or more. She's just going for it. Now she's already got a lot of books and courses and things that she's done, but it was awesome to see Anne's journey. So kudos to you, Anne, for all your hard work. But Anne's asking how hard is it to migrate her list to GetResponse. I answered that a little bit earlier. You probably already got the answer, but it's pretty simple and pretty easy. You just can do a download. Like if you're using MailChimp, you can just do an export right from your list. And again, I'll show this in the free training videos, but if you want to know beforehand, Anne, you can always email me and I can give you access to that. But basically, you export it and it comes down as a CSV file. You don't have to touch it or do anything, and you can actually upload that CSV file right into GetResponse. So that's how you do that. All right. Diana says, it's going to be hard to choose from winning. Well, Diana, if you don't know, email me and I will try to help you choose which one's best for you. Okay? And a lot of people saying congratulations. Tommy says, affiliate for Webinar Jam. Yeah, I am an affiliate for Webinar Jam. So if you don't see a way to try to sign up for it and you'd like to use Webinar Jam and you want to use my affiliate link, then you can email me and I'd be happy to show you that. And actually, one of the things I'm going to be doing inside the Blogging Your Passion University is a webinar about Hangouts in September. We do monthly Hangouts for the university, but at some point I think I want to do one for Webinar Jam because it's been a great software that I've enjoyed using, that I don't have to pay those big fees like GoToWebinar and some of those other big ones that I used to pay a lot of money. It's much simpler and easier to use with this Webinar Jam that most of you are watching. Kent says, how much are those courses you mentioned? Currently, the 101 course, which is somebody who's just starting out, is $37, and you get lifetime access to it. And there's about 30 to 40 videos in there, and that's perfect for somebody who says, I want someone to walk me through from picking a good domain name to setting up my WordPress site the right way to understanding all about WordPress to publishing my first blog post. Now, if you're past that, 201 is more ideal. 201 currently is $57, and that one goes much more into how to get traffic, ways that we've gotten traffic, how to use social media like Twitter and Facebook and so on. And then the 301 course is much more about, of course, turning your blog into a business, earning money, and that one's $77. Now, currently, earlier this year, we launched a membership site because we found that people wanted more support, they wanted a community, they wanted ongoing training. And so if you go to bloggingyourpassion.com and see University, you can click on that, and the very first option is our premium membership that we also make available. That's $30 a month. It gives you access to all 3 of these courses. and you're not in any contract. You can cancel anytime. You get a monthly webinar, blogging webinar from me. You also get an hour office hour session with me. And the Teach Your Passion course is still in there right now for those who jump in there, which is a course that I'm not selling separately currently. That is all about how do I actually take a topic, turn it into an online course, and then sell it. So those are your different options. You can go to bloggingyourpassion.com, click on that university, and they're all listed there, and the prices are listed there as well. Joe said, thanks, this was great info, awesome. Dave says, how do you sign advertisers start generating revenue? Do advertisers look for minimum web traffic, list number? What do they look for, and how do I get started? Well, Dave, advertising, most advertisers are going to want to go the route of CPM, which is cost per milli, which stands for cost per 1,000. A lot of advertisers will pay based on how much traffic you're getting, and they'll pay a certain amount for that. So generally for most bloggers, that's hard to really get any significant revenue unless you have a really high traffic site. A lot of people will actually do Google AdSense instead, where you can earn anywhere from 30 cents to $3, $4, $5 per click when someone clicks on your ad. So that's, of course, another option for people when they first get started with that. So now, if you're talking about, another option, of course, is being an affiliate. But that, of course, will cause someone to have to actually purchase something for you to get a commission as well. Hopefully that answers your question. All right. I may have skipped over. Let me make sure I haven't skipped over any other questions. But we're pretty much going to wrap it up if we don't have any more questions. Deepak said, could you send a recording as I missed the entire webinar? Absolutely. All of you who registered will be getting a link to this replay tomorrow, so you can watch it again. Let's see. This is a great question from Morgan. Do you need a different GetResponse account for each email address you use from which the contact emails would come, or is it fully campaign based? No, one really cool feature that I love about GetResponse, and let me see if I can get to it here. If so, I'll show this to you because it'll make more sense when I show it to you. I wasn't even aware of this until I actually got in and started using the software, and this makes it much easier, especially for those of you who got multiple blogs, or maybe you want to send it from multiple emails. Let me show this to you. Give me 1 second. And all right, we do a screen share and show this to you. Okay, so what you see here is like when you want to send out a new email. So you can put in your message name, which is only for you. This is where your subject line goes. And then this is what I think you're asking about, the from. Who's it going to come from? You can actually select it right here. So for me, of course, I have two, or you can add a new email address. So I can decide in my email, and you don't choose the campaigns till you get to the end. It's right here. Once you actually do the email, it'll ask you what list. They're called campaigns, of course, but list, it's all kind of the same thing. But it'll ask you what list do you want to send this from, and you can check the boxes. So again, if you have 8 or 10 that you want to send it to, you can select all 8 or 10, and again, it will only send that email to one email per email address. So if someone is signed up on 3 or 4 of your different email lists, they're not getting 3 or 4 different emails. But that's the way I do it, is you can just simply select it. So if I'm sending one to my jonathanmilligan.com, I'll use this. Or if I say I want to send one to Blogging Your Passion, I'll just select that. And I'm able to interchange those when I'm putting the email together. All right, Ann says, I've been considering Infusionsoft for its sales and CRM components, but it's so expensive. What options would you suggest for something that could do that and possibly integrate with GetResponse? You actually, and I don't know if I have the ability to kind of do this, but you can get into some of the, you can get that data from your contacts. So when you fall onto your contacts page on GetResponse, you can get some of that data on emails they've opened, what they're interested in, sort of similar like what Infusionsoft is, if you remember. So you can see those people who have opened certain emails or they've taken certain actions. You can also you're able to view that inside of GetResponse. If you want something that is purely a CRM, the one that I use is called Contactually, and in that I've got, because I'm able to pull in social media, and I've got a list of people that I use for networking and things like that. So hopefully that that answers your question. Sorry if I don't have that off the top of my head and able to show you at the moment. Right, let's see. Make sure I didn't miss anybody else. Kent says, regarding the teaching serving versus attention grabbing, do you have a rule of thumb for the length, number of words for your email or blog post? Blog post, there's a couple of things on blog post. I try to be around 500 words. Now, I just published a post today that was, I think, 700. That's a little bit unusual, but I like something that's in between 400 and 600. I think it's long enough to keep your attention. If I get past that 600 mark, I start looking at sentences I can take out, things like that. Maybe I'm getting too wordy. Maybe I can say it more concise. And I also really work hard at trying to make it scannable by having really short sentences and short paragraphs. Tomi says, are you using any of their beta landing pages? Tomi, and for those of you who don't know, again, I talked about this on a little bit about this on my blog post, but another cool feature that GetResponse is really putting a lot of energy and effort into is actual landing pages or squeeze pages. Something similar to what like lead pages is, if you know anything about lead pages, where you can, and they've recently did an update literally in the last 30 days that makes it much more drag and drop. So you get all these templates, you can upload your own pictures, you can drag a button, or you can drag and drop where you want your actual list side, or your actual person where they subscribe to your list, where you want that box to show up. And so I've just started, actually, Tomi, I would say 2 weeks ago, able to experiment with that. I am very interested in actually setting up one and using it. So more than likely I'm going to. But they do have a landing page feature as well. You're right. All right. Okay. A few more questions here, and then we'll wrap it up. Dave says, What do you think about Facebook promotion advertising? Dave, I love Facebook ads, and probably need to do a webinar sometime soon on how I've been using it. But Facebook ads is a great way to build an email list, or if you don't have a list at all, and let's say you want to hold a webinar, it's a great way to experiment, and you can keep your costs low because you can tell them, I only want to spend $10. So let's say 5 days from now is your webinar, and you're willing to spend $50 on your webinar to get new people on your list. You can set it up so that you only spend $10 for each of those 5 days. The key with it, Dave, is to go very targeted. And one of the best ways to target it, there's a couple different ways, but one of the easiest ways is actually going after fan pages. So, for example, when I did my Evernote course on how to use it as a time management tool, I actually targeted the Evernote Facebook fan page. So the ad only showed up to people who have liked Evernote. So it's not showing to a bunch of random people, and people are clicking and I'm losing money. Like sometimes that's the downside for me of Google AdWords, is you can get very specific and very targeted. So if you're doing a webinar, and people love signing up for free webinars, so when they see that in their newsfeed, if it's something they already like, they're probably going to sign up for it. So yeah, absolutely, I love Facebook advertising. Erica says, how do you get the training videos? Is it sending the sign-up email to you? Actually, Erica, you'll just send an email to me letting me know that you've signed up, and as an affiliate, I'll be able to see that, of course, on my end, and then I will reply and respond to you and give you the page where the additional training videos are listed for you. And Morgan said, thanks for answering the question. That's considerably more flexible than MailChimp. All right, great. I'm glad that helped. Okay, well, I think that is all. If I missed your question, I apologize. I know we're just over going on an hour and a half here, so we're going to wrap things up here. But again, thank you so much for hanging out. I enjoy interacting with you guys. I enjoy doing these webinars and trying to add some value to you, and hopefully today that has been the case for you. And hopefully you've learned something, or you've overcome some obstacle, or for you it's something that you feel more energized about now and feel like this is definitely something that you can do. So that's my hope, is that you feel more energized and excited about building that email list and getting your message out there to more people. So with that, we're going to sign off. Thanks for hanging out.